Before we dive into today's case, make sure you subscribe, like, and drop a comment below. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. The screen fades to black, then snaps into the cold, trembling lights of early morning emergency responders. A narrow street in Maple Ridge, Oregon, a quiet suburb where nothing ever happens, is now sealed off with yellow tape and thick silence. Police cruisers sit idling. Steam rises from saw grates. And at the center of it all lies the beginning of a mystery that would divide the town and unravel a truth no one was prepared to face. It began at 5:42 a.m., when a jogger called 911 after spotting an abandoned silver sedan at the edge of Pine Hollow Park. The driver's door was wide open, the headlights still on, and the winter air carried the faint beeping of a car alarm trying to reset itself. Inside the vehicle, police found a wallet, a phone with the screen cracked, and a smear of something on the back seat that didn't look like dirt. But the driver, Emily Carter, a 29-year-old elementary school teacher, was nowhere in sight. Detective Marcus Hale, known for solving impossible cases, arrived minutes later. Tall, sharp-featured, and exhausted from a week-long burglary investigation, he stepped out of his unmarked vehicle and scanned the scene with the expression of someone who already sensed something was wrong, deeply wrong. Emily wasn't the kind of person who disappeared. No debts, no criminal ties, nothing that screamed danger. But the moment Hale looked at the open driver's door, hanging slightly crooked as if forced, he knew this wasn't a simple missing person case. Something about the stillness in the air felt staged, rehearsed, meant to be found. Officers swept the park and discovered the first clue near the tree line, a single navy blue glove lying in the frost. Emily didn't own gloves like that, according to her family. And this one looked like part of a uniform, maybe security, maybe private contractor. The edges were torn, as if pulled off during a struggle. But the strangest clue was found 10 feet deeper into the woods, a laminated access badge from Hallcrest Industries, a well-known security technology company headquartered 2 towns over. The badge belonged to a man named Daniel Rourke, a mid-level systems engineer with no criminal record and no known connection to Emily. That was clue number 1. Clue number 2 surfaced when Hale checked Emily's phone. Her last outgoing message, sent at 4:58 a.m., was a short voice note to someone labeled AR. The note contained only 3 whispered words before cutting off, as if she'd suddenly turned to look at something or someone. The words were, "He found me." By noon, the case spread across town. Friends, co-workers, and parents from Emily's school gathered behind the barricades, asking the same question: who would want to hurt Emily Carter? Detective Hale and his partner, Lena Ward, began digging. Their first stop was Hallcrest Industries, where Daniel Rourke was supposedly working that morning. Except, he wasn't. He had called in sick for the first time in 11 months. No one had heard from him. No one seemed concerned until Hale showed them the badge found near Emily's abandoned car. Hallcrest's HR director, pale and stuttering, admitted quietly, Daniel was recently reviewed for behavior concerns. Nothing criminal. Just unusual activity. What kind of unusual? Hale pressed. Working odd hours. Logging into restricted systems he didn't have authorization for. And then last week, someone reported seeing him arguing with a woman outside the parking lot. A woman with Emily's description. Hale's instincts tightened. This wasn't random. Emily had been targeted, watched, maybe even followed. But why her? Back at the precinct, analysts pulled surveillance footage from cameras near Pine Hollow Park. At 5:27 a.m., barely 15 minutes before the jogger found the car, a dark figure appeared on the recording. The figure moved fast, wearing a hooded jacket and gloves, carrying something that looked like a duffel bag. Then, for a split second, the figure turned toward the camera. The freeze frame revealed a clean jawline, short hair, and the faint outline of an ID lanyard around his neck, a Hallcrest lanyard. They were close. Too close. While reviewing the footage, Hale leaned forward and noticed something else, something that made his stomach drop. The hooded man wasn't alone. A second shadow appeared briefly behind him, smaller, hesitant, as if being pushed or guided. And when the contrast was adjusted, the shape became unmistakable. Emily Carter. She was alive. She was with someone. And she wasn't moving of her own free will. Before Hale could process the discovery, one of the officers burst into the room, breathless. "Detective, you need to see this. A package was just delivered to the precinct front desk. No return address. It's marked for you." Hale turned. His jaw tightened. A cold ripple moved through the room. Because the package wasn't just addressed to him. It was addressed in Emily's handwriting. And inside was something that shouldn't have existed. Something that would change the case forever. The package sat in the center of the conference table like it was alive, like it was waiting. A small brown box, taped neatly, the handwriting unmistakably Emily's. The curved letters, the slanted E's, identical to the notes she left her students every Friday. Detective Hale stood over it, jaw tight, as if opening it might detonate something far worse than an explosive. His partner, Lena Ward, hovered near the door, arms crossed, trying to mask the fear crawling beneath her professionalism. "Ready?" Hale asked. Lena nodded. He sliced the tape cleanly. The box opened with a soft, almost apologetic sigh. Inside was a single SD card, taped to a folded piece of paper. 2 words were written across it in rushed, trembling ink. "Don't trust him." Lena blinked. "Trust who?" "Rourke." Hale didn't answer. His mind was running. If Emily had sent this, or been forced to, it meant she had been alive long enough to write it. But how did it arrive at the precinct? Who delivered it? Why now? He slid the SD card into the laptop. A single video file appeared, 05_17_cam_b.move. The screen flickered, then revealed a dimly lit basement room. Concrete walls. A metal table. A single chair. And in the bottom corner, the timestamp, 4:12 a.m., the morning Emily vanished. The camera angled toward the corner of the room, where Emily Saturday. Hands bound. Breathing fast. Eyes red but determined. She seemed to be waiting for something or someone before looking directly into the camera. "If anyone sees this, please listen." Her voice shook, but her message was controlled, urgent. "I didn't disappear. I was taken. And the person behind this isn't who you think." She glanced over her shoulder as if someone was approaching, then leaned closer. "You can't trust." The screen cut to static. Then black. No other files. No audio fragments. No hidden data. Just the most terrifying 3 seconds Hale had ever seen. Lena exhaled slowly. She was trying to warn us. But about who? Hale whispered. The room felt smaller. The air heavier. Because there was a truth threading itself into both their minds, a possibility neither wanted to voice. If Emily knew her abductor, then this wasn't random. This was personal. By mid-afternoon, the precinct was buzzing. Officers searched for Daniel Rourke. Patrol units swept the wooded areas around Pine Hollow. Analysts combed through Hallcrest logs. Then came the curveball. Rourke's car was found abandoned behind an old service station outside town. Keys still in the ignition. Driver's seat pushed back. A dusting of red clay tracked on the floor mat, a type only found near Riverside Dam, 5 miles east. Hale and Lena drove out immediately. The dam loomed like concrete ruins, fenced with rusted wire, the river roaring below. It hadn't been used in years, but its maintenance tunnels still stretched deep underground, dark, narrow corridors no one visited anymore. Perfect for hiding someone. They found footprints near the main gate. Mud. Clay. And a torn piece of navy blue fabric snagged on the fence. Hale crouched, scanning the ground. Same uniform material as the glove. And look. Lena pointed toward a metal access door, padlocked from the outside. But fresh scratches lined the lock, as if someone had fumbled with it in the dark. Someone trying to get in. Or trying to get out. Hale gripped the door handle. It didn't budge. "Cutting tools," he ordered. Minutes later, the lock clanged open, and the door swung inward, releasing a gust of stale, cold air. Their flashlights cut through the darkness, illuminating a long tunnel with pipes lining both sides. Everything echoed. Every step. Every breath. About 40 feet in, Lena spotted something on the ground, a silver chain bracelet. Emily's bracelet. Her initials engraved on the clasp. She had been here. Then Hale noticed something else, a second footprint, larger, deeper. A man's boot. And beside it, a third print. The size of a child's. He froze. Lena, someone else is involved. But who brings a child into something like this? Before Hale could answer, a faint clatter echoed deeper in the tunnel. Metal hitting concrete. They turned as the sound grew louder, footsteps. Running. Hale raised his flashlight. Police. Stop. A shadow darted between the pipes, then disappeared around a corner. They sprinted after it, their lights bouncing wildly. The tunnel opened into a wider chamber, an old machinery room. Empty, silent, except for a folded piece of paper resting on top of a dusty generator. Lena grabbed it. Her voice trembled as she read aloud. You're getting close. But you're following the wrong man. Hale felt the room spin. If Rourke wasn't the one, then who was? Before Lena could respond, Hale's phone buzzed violently. A text message from an unknown number. It contained just one image. A dim room. A single chair. Shadows behind it. And Emily, still alive, staring at the camera with fear in her eyes. But what froze Hale entirely wasn't Emily. It was the shape standing behind her. A silhouette he recognized. A silhouette he knew. Someone inside the investigation. Detective Hale felt his pulse spike as he stared at the photo on his phone. Emily, alive, terrified, sat in the dimly lit room from the basement video. But behind her stood a silhouette that shattered everything he believed about the case. Broad shoulders. Distinct posture. Someone who knew police procedure. Someone who would know how to move without leaving evidence. Someone Hale trusted. Lena watched his expression shift. Marcus, who is that? He didn't answer. Not yet. Not until he was certain. They raced out of the tunnel, calling for backup and surveillance on every officer connected to the case. Hale's mind churned, replaying the past week, every briefing, every tip, every person who volunteered help too quickly, too confidently. Only one name fit the pattern. Detective Caleb Strickland, Hale's longtime colleague and friend. The one who had shown up to Emily's abandoned car scene before Hale even got the call. The one who dismissed the access badge as probably unrelated. The one who had gone conveniently missing for stretches during the investigation. And the most damning detail. Strickland used to work private security for Hallcrest Industries, the same company tied to the case. Hale slammed the car door shut. Lena, track Strickland's patrol car. Now. She typed fast. Last ping was 5 minutes ago, an industrial lot off Sawyer Road. Hale started the engine. That's where he took her. The lot was a cluster of abandoned warehouses beside the river, long forgotten except by stray animals and the occasional trespasser. But one building had fresh tire tracks leading straight to a side entrance. Hale and Lena approached quietly, guns drawn but lowered, they needed to see before they moved. Inside, a faint light glowed from the center of the warehouse. Voices drifted through the cavernous space. One deep. One trembling. They crept forward until the scene revealed itself. Emily sat tied to a chair. Detective Caleb Strickland stood behind her, sleeves rolled up, pacing like a man talking to ghosts. He wasn't armed. He wasn't calm. He looked broken, frantic, like someone trying to rewrite a story that was slipping through his fingers. Emily spotted Hale first. Her eyes widened with relief. Strickland turned, startled. His face, once familiar, now twisted with something darker. Marcus, he breathed. You shouldn't be here. Hale stepped forward slowly. Caleb, what did you do? Strickland ran a hand through his hair, shaking. I didn't mean for it to happen like this. I just needed her to stop digging. Emily's voice cracked. He was following me for months. Strickland snapped, because you found out. You found out what Hallcrest was doing, the illegal surveillance, the data they were stealing, the cover-ups. You were talking to a journalist. If that story broke, everything I rebuilt after leaving that company would collapse. Lena's eyes widened. So you took her to silence her? Strickland's jaw tightened. I wasn't going to hurt her. I just needed time. Time to make her understand that going public would destroy lives, including mine. Hale kept his voice steady. Caleb, this isn't saving yourself. This is kidnapping. This is crossing a line you can't walk back from. Strickland's eyes glistened, despair flooding in. You don't get it. I tried to fix things. I tried to cover the logs. I tried to erase the evidence Emily found. But Daniel Rourke saw me with her outside hall crest. He started asking questions. So I planted the badge near the scene to shift suspicion. Emily whispered, he used Daniel as a scapegoat. Hale felt sick. The man he trusted had orchestrated everything, the evidence trail, the misdirection, even the SD card delivery, likely sent to manipulate the timeline and buy him time. Caleb, Hale said softly, just walk toward me. No one else gets hurt today. For a long moment, Strickland looked like he might. His shoulders dropped. His breathing slowed. But then he glanced at Emily, and the panic returned. No, he said quietly. If I let you take me in, everything ends. He backed toward a steel support beam, hands trembling. Caleb, Hale began. A sudden crack echoed through the warehouse ceiling. A piece of rusted metal snapped loose from the beam, weakened by years of neglect, and crashed down between Strickland and the detectives. The noise startled him so violently he stumbled backward. His foot slipped on the dusty concrete. He fell hard. When Hale and Lena reached him, Strickland was conscious but defeated, eyes staring blankly at the rafters above. It's over, Hale said gently. Strickland didn't fight. He didn't speak. He simply nodded, as if he'd known this ending the moment the case began. Emily was freed. Paramedics arrived. Backup swarmed the warehouse. And as Strickland was escorted away, rain began tapping on the broken roof, the first rainfall the town had seen in weeks. Later, standing beside the patrol cars, Emily wrapped in a blanket, Hale exhaled for the first time in days. You saved me, she whispered. Hale shook his head. You saved yourself. You left the clues. You fought to be found. As she was loaded safely into the ambulance, Hale glanced back at the warehouse, at the shadows that still lingered inside. This case would haunt him. Not because of the danger, but because the monster wasn't a stranger. It was someone standing right beside him.